How long do Harley Davidson tyres last? How many miles do you get out of yours? Let's get into it. RevelatorAlf. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. So this video is all about your motorcycle tyres on your Harley Davidson. How many miles do you get out of them? Now, this is a question that I get asked quite a lot coming through the website as well, especially when I do like a tech video on the Harleys or something like that, or I talk about tyres. Now, if you watch a video recently where I've talked about my new tyres that I put on here, I replaced my old tyres, which are Avon Cobra Chromes, with another set of Avon Cobra Chromes because I really like them. The last set, I got 10,000 miles out of them. In fact, the front tyre still had some tread on it. The rear tyre really had reached its kind of limit. But the Harley Davidson Scorcher tyres, which the bike came with, I also got about 7,000 miles. I could have got about another 1,000 miles out of those. So let's say 8,000 miles. So for a standard set of tyres for your Harley Davidson, you should be looking about 8 to 10,000 miles if you ride conservatively. As soon as you start adding a bit more throttle, as soon as you start riding more aggressively, you know, tearing it up, that kind of thing, you're going to significantly reduce the miles that you're going to get out of a tyre, especially the rear tyre, because that's where all the power and torque is going through. However, is that the most mileage that you can get out of your tyres? Well, the answer is no. You can get a lot more out of the tyres, obviously depending what tyre you put on your bike. So you're going to have different types of tyre according to the kind of riding that you want to do, and essentially it's going to be a softer compound rubber as opposed to a harder compound rubber, one that's going to give you more grip on the softer rubber, but one that's going to give you more durability, harder wearing on the hard rubber. Okay, so this is a conversation that you're going to have with your tyre merchant, your tyre fitter, to see which is going to be the best option for you, and also what kind of riding that you're going to do. So let's say you're just doing a lot of street riding, you're going lots of bends, lots of twisties. You probably want a tyre that's going to give you a lot more grip. So my recommendation would be the Avon Cobra Chromes. However, the Harley Scorcher tyres are pretty decent too. There are lots of other tyres that are just as good as well, and they will last in that 7 to 10,000 mile range if you don't really, you know, ride it aggressively. So you could say, if you ride it aggressively, you could say 4 to 6,000 miles. That's what you're going to get out of a tyre, certainly the rear tyre. However, if you're going to be doing the Grand Tour or something like that, then you want a tyre that's harder wearing, it's got a harder rubber compound. So again, check with your tyre fitter, your tyre guy or girl, and see which tyre that will fit your bike will give you the most miles. Now, it could be that you could get 12, 13, 14,000 miles out of a tyre if you ride it conservatively. It really depends. Now, I have heard of some guys, and especially in the United States, so they could be using a different tyre compound than we use over here, or that we get given over here in the UK or in Europe. But I hear of some guys over there getting 15,000 miles out of a rear tyre, 20,000 miles, which just seems absolutely insane to me. I can see it out of a front tyre that you might be able to get that, but out of a rear tyre, that seems absolutely crazy. However, it really depends also on the type of riding that you're doing, how heavy you are. Are you just a solo rider, or are you riding with pillion? Are you riding with luggage, tour bags, that kind of thing? What kind of riding you're doing? Is it straight highway miles, motorway miles, or is it in the twisties? What's the road surface like? Also, what is your tyre pressure as well? If I want to increase my durability on my tyres, I do add 1 or 2 psi, but I kind of trade that harder wearing or that durability for a reduction in tyre performance. So, you know, you can play with the tyre pressures a little bit, but not too much. I think here in the UK, around Europe, where we got a lot more twisties, it would appear, and we certainly don't have the big wide open roads like you have in, you know, United States, Canada, or Australia, or places like that. You know, I think we'd be very lucky to get more than 10,000 miles, 11,000 miles out of a tyre. If you've got a touring tyre and you're doing touring type riding, maybe you'll get a little bit more, but certainly 15,000 miles, 20,000 miles, you know, I'd be very surprised over here. However, in the United States, if people are claiming that that's what they're getting, then listen, who am I to argue? But it could certainly be a possibility. So if you're ever wondering about, you know, getting a Harley Davidson, and one of the first things that you're going to be thinking about is your tyres and how many miles you're likely to get out of your tyres. Well, the tyres for cruisers and tourers, they're really of a harder compound anyway, as opposed to sports bikes, which will be of a softer compound to give them more grip, especially in the bends, that kind of thing, and all that power that's getting through the bike, through the rear wheel. So they will be a longer lasting tyre, and depending on how you ride, of course, they can last a little bit longer even still. However, a standard set of tyres, 10,000 miles, I think, here in the UK or around Europe, I think that's what you're looking at. If you're going for a really hard compound tyre, which will give you less tyre performance, let's say, especially in the bends or in the wet, you might get a D grade as well. You know, you can get a little bit more, 12, 13,000 miles, 14,000 miles. And I suppose in some extreme cases, let's say with a hard wearing touring tyre, you could get something like 15, 20,000 miles. You know, maybe in the United States. I say I doubt you'll get that over here in Europe, especially with the roads that we've got and all the twisties that we've got as well. But anyway, let us know your thoughts. Let us know what tyres that you're using on your Harley Davidson, how many miles you're getting out of it, what kind of mileage you're doing, or what kind of road surfaces you're riding on, and all that kind of stuff. But I think as a good marker, 8 to 10,000 miles, that's what you're looking for on your Harley Davidson tyres. Right, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. Right, I'm going to put a few more miles on these tyres now. Ta-da.